Good morning. It's Thursday again. How is everybody? I hope you're great. I'm doing really well today. And I have a really juicy conversation for this morning. So, as business owners, we tend to make decisions all day long about every detail of our business, not to mention all the usual decisions that we have to make daily just to be human, right? So what we're going to talk about today is I'm going to share some simple strategies for cutting through decision fatigue and actually taking control back of your life and of your energy. Okay. If you're listening live, let me know by saying hi. Hi. If you're listening to the replay, let me know that too. I'd love it if you asked questions as we went along and joined the conversations. If you're listening to the replay, you can ask questions and I will come back and answer them. Drop the word notes below if you want to access to the notes about the show. It takes about a week to a week and a half for me and my team to get them ready, edited and ready, but I promise you'll get them if you ask for them. Okay, so let's start with clarifying decision-making fatigue versus social fatigue, because sometimes it's really hard to tell the difference. Okay, so I looked this up. The American Medical Association definition defines decision fatigue as this. Decision fatigue is the idea that after making many decisions, your ability to make more and more decisions over the course of a day becomes worse. The more decisions you have to make, the more fatigue you develop, and the more difficult it becomes. Interesting. Now, social fatigue, according to the Psyche Central magazine, is defined as an emotional and physical response to social overstimulation that leaves you feeling drained and exhausted. You might feel physically tired, you might feel stressed, angry, or irritable. Social exhaustion can feel like hitting a wall. So honestly, I think all of us have experienced both decision fatigue and social fatigue. And at least in my case, it definitely feels different in my body and in my brain, right? So I'm going to give you some, decision fatigue for as business owners. Not only are we going from morning to night having to make decisions about, everything, just the same way everybody does, but then we have a whole team, we have clients, we have operations, we have to deliver on what we promise. There are so many we're bombarded all day long with decisions about where to take our business, how to do it, how to choose between many different courses of action. So it's a lot, right? So I'm going to give you some strategies, some simple strategies on things that you can do to take care of yourself when you're feeling overwhelmed by all the decisions that you have to make. So first, I want you to relax. So I know people say that it's so obnoxious, but here's the reason that I want people that I say to relax. When we are trying to make a decision, especially if it's not one of the little decisions that we have to make during every day, but we're really grappling with a big decision that has us second guessing ourselves, or we are rolling it over in our brains for days. Maybe we are trying to process it through talking to people, but we keep thinking we make a decision and then we come back and roll it over some more because we're so afraid of making the wrong decision. That's really when I want you to relax, because here's the thing. There is no perfect decision. Racking your brain trying to find a perfect decision is exhausting. You can't ever make or know that a decision that you're going to make today is the right or perfect decision until after the decision has been made and you've actually done whatever it is that you decided by. So instead, how you approach it is you can be the most well-informed to make a decision, so you can find out as much as you can about all the different directions or all the possible permutations that would occur for each decision, for each way that you might go in the decision making process. You know, it's kind of like a pros and cons list. It is, except I always think of it as, you know, what are the possibilities if you make this decision? What will hold you back if you go this way? What are the unintended consequences that might crop up? Sorry, I have an itch. Unintended consequences, and really just think through each of those cases so that you know the most you can about each pathway that's possible, and then make a decision and relax. And when I say relax, what I mean is once you've made the decision, let go of all of the other possibilities of decision and go with the one you choose. And go for it 100% without a back door. Because then it's only down the road in the future that you can look back with hindsight and say, yes, that was the right decision. I know the biggest, when I was thinking about how I was going to talk about this particular, the decision that comes to me as the one that most exemplifies this in my life that immediately came to mind. Oh, sorry, it's trash day. So if you're hearing the garbage trucks, that's what it is when trying to figure out with my kids where they should go to college. Like, what was the perfect school? What was the right decision? And the truth is, I mean, I did this 3 times, right? So the truth was, honestly, that there was no perfect decision, that there was a decision that was right for them, and that in reality, whatever decision they made, they could make it be the right decision. And I think that that's also true when we're dealing with these big, gnarly things that we're trying to make decisions from, is that once we make the decision, we can behave, we can go towards it as always making it, creating it being the right decision. So just the whole idea that there's a perfect decision out there that you have to find causes more stress. So let that go and relax that. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, delegate. So as a business owner, we talk about delegation all the time. And as a CEO, as a badass CEO, as a leader of your company, as the creative visionary of your company, you really, not only are you delegating tasks, it's really important that you trust the people that you hire, the people who are on your team, to know their shit enough that you trust them to make decisions and allow them to make decisions. So, of course, there are certain decisions that you want to be a part of as the owner of the company. But in general, the day-to-day ongoing of how things get done and how processes are worked out, you know, the more of that you can hand over, the more energy you have left for the bigger visionary type decisions that you need to make as the CEO of your company. So delegate. You hired them for their expertise, so trust them. I always say, you know, tell them the results that you're looking for. Like, what are the results that you're going for? What does that need to look like? And then give them room to bring their magic to the table. Okay, so delegate. The third strategy is to prioritize. So, you know, some decisions are more time sensitive than others. You want to identify both when you're the most effective and decisive, first of all, and then what decisions need to be made by when and who's going to make them. There are times in our biorhythmic day that we are most awake, most on, right? You all know what I'm talking about. Like our energetic day kind of goes like this. So there are times in your day that you are the most with it in your brain. So you want to identify that. I mean, you want to identify that for so many reasons, but decision making is a really good reason to identify that. And plan for those decisions, for you to have time to make decisions during the time of the day that you're the most with it. Like your brain is working the best it can, so that you can focus and handle the tasks and the meetings and the research that goes along with making decisions when you are the most able to. The word that came to mind was coagulate, but that's not really the right word. Sorry, tangent. Squirrel. So for you to synthesize all of the information so that you can make a decision when you're the brightest. Okay. Personally, I think if you set aside a specific block of time once a week to handle, to handle minor decisions that aren't time sensitive, and then, so that you're just doing decision if you've got many of them to handle. And also, I personally think that if you set aside time once a week during the best time of the day, so that if you have a major decision that needs to be handled, you already know that you have that time set aside to make that decision. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Okay, 4, automate. People say this all the time, right? Like, I have so many friends and colleagues who are in businesses that, like marketing business, they're always talking about automate as many tasks as possible. And you know what? Automation is really great. Once you make a decision, make it so that it's easy to just do that all the time. Depending on what your business looks like, for instance, there's all sorts of different softwares that are specific to exactly the model that you're using. Maybe a CRM could free up time and mental energy, so you're not trying to hold things in your brain. So automation is not necessarily a specific decision-making tactic, but what it is a energy-saving tactic, okay? So since decision-making takes so much brain power, and really it does, you really want to think about how you can keep the energy that you need, the brain energy you need to make those big decisions, and let go of anything else, get rid of all of the other energy sucking things that could possibly drain that brain energy from you. And one of those is automations in your business. I always talk about workflows and SOPs, standard operating procedures. So people don't have to think about how to do things because it's all been standardized. You don't need to remember what to do or how many of these things to do or how a project flows through your business, because you've already created that. It's already codified. Okay. So automate the things that you can so that you're not constantly redesigning the wheel or recreating decisions or pulling energy from your brain for when you need it the most. Okay, so if you've been here and you've been listening to the strategies that I have, I would really like to know what strategies you have. How do you manage decision fatigue? What are some things that you have in place specifically to keep yourself from overusing the brain energy so you don't have enough left when it comes to making big decisions? How do you handle it when you have a really big decision that has to be made? Angela says her strategy is me. Mwah! I love you too. But yeah, so, maybe having a coach is your strategy. That's exactly right. It could totally be. So I want to hear about your strategies. Okay. Okay, so that was 4. So we did what? 1, relax. There's no perfect decision. 2, delegate. Trust and let your team make decisions that they can be responsible for, so that you can be available for bigger decisions. Prioritize your decisions based on time sensitivity and your biorhythms. 4, automate the things you can automate in your business. So, when I think about that, there's automation like sending out emails, right? Or certain workflows. But there's also time, automation in terms of your time, like time blocking will allow you to figure out, give yourself access to social media only at specific times of the day. Or you're only going to read emails this many times a day. It's all scheduled. So the decision of when and how to do things is laid out for you. You can set expectations. So for both your team and clients and colleagues and vendors about how long it takes you to reply to emails or how long it'll take you to get back to them. Garbage day. Did I mention garbage day? Anyway, make sure that you're setting up email autoresponders for days when you're out, and that you have a communication system set up with your team for if you're on vacation or out of the office. So again, you're not being bombarded with making decisions when you're not in the office supposed to be there making decisions. Does that make sense? Okay, so there's a fifth strategy, and that is, when you're feeling decision fatigue, so when you're feeling foggy, when somebody asks you to make a decision for the 16th time that day, and you're like, right, you just can't think, take a minute and check in with yourself. Are you hungry? Totally. When you're hungry, your brain isn't working as well. Are you thirsty? Do you need to actually go to the bathroom and have a bio break? Have you been sitting in front of your computer too long? What you really need is to get up and walk around the block. Do you need to put whatever decision it is that you're grappling with on the shelf and sleep on it? That's a really good tactic, by the way. I have learned over the years that I'm a really easy yes when I'm tired. And so I have stopped saying yes immediately. And instead I say, I'll let you know tomorrow, or I'll let you know in a couple days because I have to sleep on it. So that it gives my brain time to cogitate in the background, right? Like not consciously, but allows all those hormones that has me say yes because I like saying yes, right? To calm down enough to actually look at the decision from many different angles, not just the I want that shiny thing angle, okay? And that doesn't mean that you want to delay decisions, but honestly, it's better to take a day and sleep on a big decision and refresh yourself, have a new perspective. When I wake up in the morning, I feel completely different than when I went to bed the night before. Better that than hurrying a decision where you haven't really, where you're tired and you haven't really thought through all of the possibilities. Okay, so that's 5. Okay, so I've talked about different strategies that we can use in business, but I am going to tell you that there are also strategies that will help your decision making as a business owner, but that are in your personal life. So these are some ways that I make less decisions during the day and often end up making better decisions because I'm making fewer of them. Okay. And these are also things that over the week people have dropped into some of the posts on my things that I've posted about tactics and strategies that other people use. So share responsibilities at home. Like these are decisions that are all about your personal life. Okay. Share responsibilities. For instance, in my house, I don't get out of bed in the morning. Alan brings me breakfast and coffee in bed every morning because I am not awake. And he wakes up with that. So we use both of our biological clocks or circadian rhythms to figure out who should be doing, who's going to be responsible for what. So he makes breakfast. He often also makes lunch. But that's more whoever's in the kitchen, and sometimes I'm only making lunch for me and sometimes he's only making lunch for him. But he makes breakfast. I'm mostly in charge of dinner because by the end of the day, I have enough energy to figure out what I want. And truly, how I handle it is I don't decide what we're going to have for dinner every day. One day a week, I meal plan and make those decisions. And I always leave days open so that when I don't want to cook, or like I'm just too tired or we're too tired, I either can tell him to do it or we can order in food, right? If you have partners or roommates, splitting some of the responsibilities around the house so that you know what you have to do, like the chore wheel. So my kids sometimes still use a chore wheel with their roommates. So another really great strategy for decision making, just as a human, is stay hydrated. Drink water. I know people tell us to drink water all the time in context of dieting and health and all, but here's the thing: your brain needs water to function properly. So drink water so that you're making good decisions. It's especially important if you don't get enough sleep, which is actually the next strategy, is like, try to get enough sleep, 6 to 8 hours of sleep at night. We don't all get that luxury. Sometimes our bodies don't want to cooperate. I am a lifelong insomniac, and there have been months and years that have gone by where I've only slept 4 to 5 hours a night. It takes me forever to get to sleep, or I'll fall asleep and wake up and can't get back to sleep. So I understand that this is often a struggle, the same way that drinking water is a struggle. If I have a glass of water on my desk, I'll drink it, but once it's gone, I very rarely remember to go fill it up again, right? So I'm like a perfect example of the struggles that it is to actually take care of myself in such a way that my brain is available for making decisions, which is probably why I feel fatigued at the end of every day, because I just am not taking care of my brain in the way it should be. So yes, try to get sleep. Okay, so I love this one. I read this thing where Barack Obama always wore either blue or gray suits so that he never had to make a decision about what to wear in the morning. And so mornings were easier, right? And then when I posted that, all these people were like, yeah, I only wear this kind of uniform when I'm working. And these are all business owners. So I wear all black, or, these are I wear these kinds of pants, this shirt, and I have one for every day. And I was like, brilliant, friggin' brilliant. I don't know if I can put that into practice because I actually really like my clothes and dressing the way I feel like in the morning. But I thought that was an amazing strategy. Okay, meal planning. As I said, I do this, right? Meal planning is one of my go-to strategies of decision making. And I still, like last night, there was a plan, and then my husband ended up going out to meet with some colleagues for a happy hour. I was like, I'm not going to cook just for myself. And so I didn't do the plan. I ordered some food. And so tonight I'm going to do the plan instead. Last night's plan will go tonight, or maybe it might even go tomorrow night. So one of the other strategies that's really important is to not be hard on yourself and give yourself grace. Giving yourself grace is such an important thing. Another strategy that I have, because I'm a traveler, and most of you know that not only do I travel overseas, but I get in Vanya every year for at least a month, and we're here and there weekends when we're not in the van for the month. So like we were in Bend last weekend, we're going to the beach supposedly tomorrow. I don't know, it's supposed to rain, so we'll see. But then we're going away for a month, and then we've got many other trips planned. And then and then I'm taking clients to Portugal and then staying for a couple of weeks. So here's all of that to say that one of the main strategies that I use is I delegate travel planning. So I often will say where I want to go, but then I just hand it to my husband. I'm like, I want to go here. And then his job is to figure out, he figures out how we're going to get there, where we're going, where we're staying, what we're going to see, what we're going to eat. That's a really big one. And so he has all of these plans. What's really amazing about him in particular is that he'll have a variety of possibilities for every day. And every morning when we're on vacation, he'll give me a couple of options based on how I'm feeling. And he'll be like, we could do this or we could do this. So while I'm still making small little decisions while we're traveling, the bigger picture of travel planning is completely delegated. Okay. So I hope that that's been helpful. I hope that it's been helpful, these strategies, that you use these strategies. I'm really looking forward to hearing if you have any strategies that I haven't mentioned. Yeah, I think that's it. Everybody always says you're supposed to do a call to action. I'm like, call to action. I don't have a call to action other than do some of these strategies so that you don't feel so tired. Okay, so that you aren't so fatigued, so you can be present when the big decisions come. Other than that, have a fabulous weekend. Have a fabulous rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Mwah. Bye.